the White House, the most famous residence. It has been home to the presidency since 1800. It also considered as one of the most haunted houses in the United States. One ghost said to be still residing is Abraham Lincoln, as seen by the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Winston Churchill. Numerous paranormal activity has also been recorded. Laughter, swearing violently, floating ghosts of Abigail Adams, disembodied voices, knocking, and numerous ghosts including a wife of the past president. Built in 1974, the lighthouse itself and the surrounding building is reportedly haunted. Staff and visitors have seen apparitions of two girls countless times, and it is believed to be the daughter of Hezekiah Pitti, who is in charge of the lighthouse construction in 1800s. His daughters died in an accident, and both of them had been seen on the tower catwalk. Another ghost seen is believed to be a Civil War soldier and also the former lighthouse keeper, William A. Horn. Because of this paranormal activity, St. Augustine's Lighthouse have been featured on taps. They have successfully documented evidences, including apparition of a woman, shadowy figure, EVP of a crying woman asking for help. Because of that, TAP coined the location as the Mona Lisa of paranormal sites. Akershus Fortress. Located in Norway, the fortress was built around 1300. This medieval castle served as a stronghold for the city of Oslo. It also served as a prison during the late 18th and 19th century, and many prisoners died during their imprisonment. It also has been an execution site during Nazi occupants in World War II. Believed to be the most haunted place in Norway with countless ghosts and apparitions, which the most popular of them all is a demon dog named Malkanisen. Malkanisen is said to be guarding the castle gate. Legend says that anyone who approached Malkanisen is sentenced to a horrible death within 3 months. Another ghost is a woman named Mantelgisten, often seen within the castle, walking back in her chambers. She appears from the darkness wearing a long robe and has no facial feature. Edinburgh Castle. Dating back to Iron Age, Edinburgh Castle is believed to be the most haunted city on earth. With a long history of torture and bloody battle, Edinburgh Castle is a complete recipe for a haunted location. Being touched and pulled is a common feeling in the castle, not to mention the ghost apparitions. Some of are a man wearing an apron, a headless drummer boy, a piper boy who mysteriously died after getting lost in a tunnel below. Some occurrences are also recorded, such as shadow figures, sudden drop of temperatures, unexplained mist, strange sounds, feeling of being watched, and sudden feeling of dread, sadness, and despair. Formerly an ocean liner that sails in North Atlantic during 1930s to 1960s, Queen Mary Hotel is said to be the most haunted hotel in America. The ship is said to have so many haunted areas that it is almost impossible to find an explanation for each one. Most popular of all the reports is a first-class swimming pool incident in 1930s and 1960s. 2 women apparently drowned in the pool, and their ghosts have been seen countless times in this area. Another apparition of a woman in white is seen in the salon, a man wearing 1930s suit, ghosts of 2 children heading in the storage room, a young woman walking through the tourist class swimming pool. Lawang Seru. Lawang Seru means 1,000 door. It is built in 1917 by the Dutch East Indian Railway Company. In World War II, Lawang Seru was taken over by the Japanese Army. The basement B was used as a prison where many of the prisoners was executed. In October 1945, it was retaken by the Dutch using a tunnel underneath Building A. They sneaked into the city where numerous Indonesian soldiers were killed. Believed to be the most haunted place in Indonesia, paranormal events are recorded here. Apparition of a Dutch woman believed to have committed suicide there and was captured on film during a program. Hell spirits are known to roam its corridor, and basement B is believed to be haunted by La Kuntilana. Babian Hausian. Located in Germany, now a museum, World War II German soldiers has been seen in uniform is just one of the many hauntings in this museum. Report says that lights are known to turn on and off by itself. Voices heard. German commands are often heard being shouted out in the dead of the night. Soldiers who have visiting the museum and picked up the telephone have reported hearing a woman talking backwards, still not clear if it's English or German. Allegedly, she was burned into stake sometime in 1900s. Her vengeful ghost is said to be has seduced and killed several German soldiers. Vork Vanet. Located in Sweden, this small village is well known for its haunted houses. Built in 1876, the first documented ghost incident came in 1927 when a resident was in an attic about to gather his laundry when an unseen force torn the laundry down from the line. In 1930s, a priest saw an old woman dressed in gray appeared in a room and followed it, only to vanish in front of his eyes. Report says that in 1940s, a couple reported hearing strange noises, moving objects in their home. A woman staying in a guest room was awakened in the middle of the night. She saw 3 old women sitting and staring at her. She turned the lights on in a hurry, but then they were still there looking at her, but this time they are kind of blurry. Chateau de Brissac, located in France, originally built in the 11th century as a castle, Chateau de Brissac was rebuilt in 1502 by Charles II, who has given its name. Once was the charm of the old world. It all changed when a double murder that took place sometimes in the 15th century within the castle walls, and has resulted in one of the most popular ghosts in the castle, known as La Dame Verte, or Green Lady. She is said to roam the rooms and scared many guests, often seen in the Tower Chapel room, wearing a green dress. What's terrifying is when she looks at you, you will see that she has this black gaping hole to her face to where her eyes and nose should be, resembling what a corpse would look like. People can also hear her moans in the castle in the eerie hours. Fort George, the Citadel. Labeled as Canada's most haunted historical site, Halifax Citadel has received hundreds of reports of ghost sighting. This star-shaped fort is over 300-year-old. Staff and visitors are said to have witnessed several apparitions walking in the grounds. In one particular, a soldier in uniform walked in one of the rooms and simply vanishes. Other ghost apparitions that have been witnessed includes an old man, a woman, a man in red cloak, an older lady who notoriously shows herself in mirrors, a little girl said to follow the groups taking part in the ghost tours, with the groups experience her holding their hands, disembodied voices, unexplained bangs and knocks, mist captured on film and even with the naked eye. The feeling of being watched is commonly reported, as is the feeling of nausea, sudden gusts of wind in closed room, furniture moving, doors banging, people being pushed by an unseen force. Banff Spring Hotel. Banff Spring Hotel was built over 125 years ago by Canadian Pacific Railway as a luxury stop point for travelers by train. While its beauty is absolutely stunning, it is one of the most haunted in the world. Terrifying reports includes a bride who fell down the staircase, breaking her neck on a panic because her gown was caught on fire. Her apparitions have reportedly seen on the staircase and in the ballroom dancing with flames from the back of her dress. Story told that a family was murdered in room 873. The door was on this room had been bricked up, but the ghost of the murdered family still roams in the area, often seen in front of the sealed room. Another famous ghost is the former bellman Sam Macaulay, who serves in 60s and 70s, helping guests and dressed in 60s uniform. When you try to tip or converse with him, he simply vanishes. The Tower of London. With a 900-year-old history of torture and execution, Tower of London is surely one of the most haunted in the world. Reports of numerous paranormal activities in the tower, perhaps the most famous of them all, is Anne Boleyn, wife of King Henry VIII. She was beheaded in 1536, and her headless body can be seen walking in the tower corridor and near the spot where she died. Other apparitions have also been witnessed includes a lady in gray seen waving in the window. Apparitions of 2 children are commonly throughout the rooms of the castle, wearing their nightgowns and a complete terror on their faces, believed to be the ghosts of princesses who was deemed to be illegitimate by the parliament. Their disappearance led to believe that they had been murdered by their own uncle, and 2 small skeletons have been exhumed beneath the staircase of the White Tower. Castle of Good Hope, Cape Town, South Africa. Built in the 17th century by Dutch Indian Company, it is the oldest colonial building in the country. Paranormal reports first documented in 1915. It was about a tall gentleman, and he wasn't seen again until 1947, where he was continually seen for 2 consecutive weeks, jumping off the side of the castle walls. Another famous apparition is of the former governor who died in 1728, the same day he sentenced 7 soldiers to death attempting to leave. It is believed that one of the soldiers cursed him, demanding he watch an execution which he did, and later he was found dead, slouched over his desk with a look of pure terror on his face. Another apparition is a lady in gray running in the castle hysterically. Since a woman's body was found during a recent excavation, her ghost hasn't been seen again. In 17th century, a soldier was found hanging from the bell rope. To this day, the bell has been known to strike of its own accord. A ghost dog is also known on pouncing on unsuspected visitor and simply vanishes into thin air. Monte Cristo Homestead. Regarded as the most haunted location in Australia, it gains its reputation from the amount of tragic events that have occurred there since it was built in 1885. Crowley owned the property up to 1948. During those times, the family have witnessed too many deaths, including a tragic death of a young child who dropped down the stairs. A maid of the family is believed to have fallen from the balcony, and a stable boy who burned to death in the property. A mentally ill man said to be caretaker's son chained up for 40 years in the caretaker's cottage. He was found curled up in his dead mother's body and was sent to a mental institution where he died shortly after. After it was vacated in 1948, a group of caretakers took over, and one of whom was murdered in a caretaker cottage. Eastern State Penitentiary, built in 1829 as a prison, well known to be the first to use the solitary confinement method. The prisoners would be completely isolated, they would live alone, eat alone, and even exercise alone, which drove many prisoners into insanity. This the same prison used to hold Al Capone and the bank robber Willie Sutton. Reports of paranormal had been recorded since 1940, but after the prison had been abandoned in 1971, the paranormal activity have seemingly increased. Some of the records shows shadowy figures that quickly turn away when approached, ghostly faces in cell block 4, disembodied voices, footsteps, talkings, banging of cell doors, dark figures in guard tower, evil crack coming from cell block 12, shadowy figures sliding down the walls in cell block 6. Originally a 2-story wooden building, opened in 1910, Waverly Hills Sanatorium served as a tuberculosis hospital in early to mid-20th century, the time that the disease was at its worst. It is believed that as many as 63,000 patients died there. Rumor has it that the death toll includes mistreated patients, questionable experimental procedures on patients. Because of this, many paranormal investigators had been drawn to this location, including Ghost Adventure and Ghost Hunter. Some evidence recorded is an image seems to be walking across the hall. The figure seems to be 3 feet tall, later found out to be a boy named Tim. Other evidence captured was a full-bodied apparition, fleeting shadows, screams coming from the empty room, cold spots, disembodied voices, and footsteps. Ancient Ram Inn. Built in 1145, Ancient Ram Inn is believed to be the most haunted house in whole British Isle, perhaps in the world. Child sacrifices, devil worship, and evil spirit is believed to have been responsible for the home's haunting. Legend says that the property is a conductor for spiritual activity and also a pagan burial ground 5,000 years ago. When it was bed and breakfast, people would flee in the middle of the night, seeing ghostly apparitions in the room, being touched, pulled, and disembodied voices are a common occurrence here. The current owner experienced to be grabbed in his arms before being dragged out of bed across the room. He also found the evidence of evil worship, children's skeleton, and broken daggers. He still continued to experience the hunting and attacks to this day. Changi Hospital. Formerly a hospital in Changi, Singapore, it was built in 1935 as a part of a military base during the Japanese occupation. The Japanese used the building as a prison and a torture camp. At the end of World War II, it was again used as a hospital and remained so until 1997 when it was abandoned. Its history now haunts the building. Apparition of an old man walking the corridors, woman walking through rooms, spirit of children are known to haunt the pediatric ward. Ghosts of bloody Japanese soldier have been seen also. Loud bangs and screams are a common occurrence here. Islands of Dolls. Located in Lake Toshio in New Mexico City, the island or Isla de las Monicas or Islands of Dolls is definitely one strange haunted location. In 1950, a man named Julian Santana Barrera moved into the island, and legend says that 3 young girls were playing near the water in 1920s when one of them fell and drowned in the water. Julian is unaware of this dark legend. Locals say that a young girl spirit has been trapped in the island, and Julian claimed that as soon as he moved into the island, the girl's spirit started communicating with him that leads him into bringing the dolls to appease the little girl's spirit. He was found dead face down in the water, the same spot where the little girl drowned 70 years before. People who visit the island often says that the doll's eyes are following them, whispering to them, especially at night. It is said that the little girl's spirit, as well as Julian, is still trapped in the island. Inhabited since 421, when mainlanders seek refuge from the invaders, by 14th century the island was completely abandoned when bubonic plague rampaged in Europe. The island then became a quarantine, and the sick Venetian came here to die, the infected bodies then being piled and burned. This was also the case in 1630 when the Black Death swept through Venice. The site then used as a mental asylum. During the 1800s, story of maltreatment and questionable experiment procedure carried out in the building. In 1930s, a doctor is said to have committed suicide. No local wants to set foot in the island for fear of being cursed. They say that the ghosts of victims haunt the island. Voices, screams often heard in abandoned building. With the dark shadow often seen, EVPs and recording, possession has also been recorded. Zach Pagan's Ghost Adventure was possessed during the cruise visit years ago. When a visitor set foot in the island, they say they suddenly feel oppressed.